Hey
Hi guys, happy Monday.
Monday was rough today, y'all. I don't know about you, but it was rough for me. Rough.
It was a Monday. It was Mondaying. It was Mondaying. If you guys are tuning in, make sure you check in the chat box. If you guys are following us on Instagram, we put a whole nother side of us on there. It's kind of like humanizing us a bit. Although I think you guys can get a feel of my personality most of the time. It gives us a little silly side, and we throw a little bit of tips, like quick tips on Instagram. So if you're not following us already on Instagram, check us out. TXC Tells All. We had some new clips there. There's some reels. And also, if you are new to the channel, consider subscribing to our channel. We do lawyer reaction videos. We try to go live at least once a month to interact with our viewers. So if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. And also click the thumbs up. What it does is puts the video out to the YouTube algorithm so that it can be shared with a broader community. So we appreciate when our viewers come in and say hi to us. We do have other playlists other than like lives. But this is what we're doing today is usually a reaction video to some trending topic. It could be a legal topic. It doesn't always have to be. But today we're going to do a trending legal related topic. So hopefully it'll be interesting for our guests. And hey, Roxanne.
Hey, Roxanne. Thank you for joining in.
So, yeah, Roxanne is the first to check in. If you guys are coming in, make sure you check in. We like to shout out our viewers. And we're going to get right into it. We're going to come in and we're not going to do too long today. We're going to try to get in and get out. But this is a juicy topic because he basically got caught. Alex Jones, we're talking about today, got basically caught out there. But it also opens up a whole world of things like who is he? Why is he getting sued? What's defamation? That's what he's getting sued for. Like, what's attorney-client privilege? What's legal malpractice? It just screams a lot of stuff. So we're going to hopefully be able to unpack it today in the video. And then we want to see what you guys think about it, too, because it's actually more fun when you guys engage with it. So,
right.
Tracy, let's see. Oh, right. We're Monday, but we're doing okay. I'm glad that you stopped in. It always makes it more fun when our viewers stop in and say hello to us. So it gives us our energy.
Yes. I hope you had a good day. Vivian, hi, Vivian. Good to see you.
Hey, Vivian.
Thanks for joining in. Yeah, we try to make this interactive because I feel like it's a lot to unpack here. With like Narita said, with the defamation. What is it? What is it not? Who is this guy? He's been popping up all over the news. I Googled his name earlier today. Now, he been had Wikipedia, and we'll talk about, this is not his first time really, in these types of conspiracies, but it's the first time he's getting sued at this level. But of course, I mean, I'm just looking at Googling him right now. There's articles popping up 3 hours ago, 44 minutes ago, 29 minutes ago. Like, he's all over the news. So
he's trending for sure.
Yes. So
I'm sure everybody's interested to know. And just like, obviously we're attorneys, but this is not legal advice. This is just our reactions to what's going on. We try to give some like a legal context of what's going on because sometimes people don't know. And we're seeing it from different lenses than the average person. That doesn't mean that, we are going to give you this is what's going to happen for sure. But knowing from what we know as Tracy practices civil law, and I'm an attorney, we can give you that kind of broad view of things. So let's start out with it. Who is Alex Jones? We're going to play the video. So make sure you guys stay to, the whole live. We're going to play the video clip that we're talking about. I'm going to try not to laugh.
No, but there's parts of this that are part of entertainment, right? His whole MO is, I mean, he's supposed to be protecting free speech and all that other stuff, but part of it is entertainment, and of course part of it is really serious. Obviously, you'll hear from the lawsuits and why these parents are suing. That part is not obviously funny, but there are parts of it that are ridiculous, which make you laugh. So anyway.
Okay, well then I'm going to appropriately cackle.
Right.
All right, so who is Alex Jones? For those of you who don't know, he's a right-wing conservative. My lighting went out, y'all, but I'm going to still operate. A right-wing conservative. He's a radio show host who has basically, he talks about conspiracy theorists. Like, you guys shouldn't believe this. This is what's really going on. He's been around for a while, and he's been talking about things have been, this is not right. This is what the government wants you to believe. You shouldn't believe this. And it's made quite a bit of money off of it. Tracy, if you want to add to that.
He takes the biggest tragic world events, like let's go back 9/11, that was one of his first, I guess, platforms where he said he was saying that 9/11, wasn't really, didn't basically it happened, but it was all staged by the government. Now, thousands of people lost their lives in 9/11, and that was one of the first times where people kind of attacked him. Like, free speech is one thing, but you're being insensitive to people who have clearly lost their loved ones, lost their lives, or survived, but are dealing with the trauma of actually being there. I mean, my mom worked in the Twin Towers, so like I know if I hadn't heard about him before now, but I know if I would have heard about it then, she was late to work that morning, and that was part of what saved her life. Wow. So I'm like, being in it, and if I would have heard somebody saying that at that time, I probably would have lost it. Like, just like, we're going to talk about these parents from Sandy Hook that we're dealing with it on a personal level. People, we'll talk about all that. But in 9/11 was one of the first things that he kind of brought out on. I don't know if it was a podcast back then, or I don't know what medium he was doing it through back at that time, but 9/11 was one. He's also said that the government is releasing chemicals to create gay people. Ridiculous. Like he's like, so those are the kind of things he says. But some people, amongst many other things, but some people are like, free speech, or is he going too far? Court, clearly, the jury in Texas clearly thought he was going too far. And then he has also been like, they said that he was part of the group that was organizing the attack on the Capitol on January 6th. So he's been involved in that. He's supposedly been in communications with allies of President Trump. So, he's involved in all that. Just to give y'all a short kind of snapshot of who he is.
Like who he is, right. Mm-hmm. And what he said about, so he's being sued right now. He said that the Sandy Hook massacre, where 20 children died and also some teachers died, was a hoax, and it was made up by the government. It really didn't happen. And so that's kind of what happened. That's what put him in the forefront to be able to be sued by the parents of the victims of the Sandy Hook massacre. Right. So that's how we got to where we got as far as the trial. He's being sued because he's made a lot of money. Because as you know, or you may not know, you usually sue people like to make a point, or you sue people that have money, right? To hit people with their pocket is, and they'll stop doing whatever you want them to stop doing. So he's made quite a bit of money. He's a radio talk show host, like has a podcast, and he makes his money from ad revenue. So let me share the screen so you can see. He makes quite a bit of money. When I say quite a bit, I'm being generous, right? So he makes quite a bit of money from ad revenue, and also people who basically, so he has to have an audience, right, in order to make money. And he's made money from people following him. So it's like, we think it's so ridiculous, but it's not ridiculous because companies are basically paying him. He used to have some diet supplements. Companies are basically paying him to advertise on his podcast, right? So he has this whole supplement thing going on, but he also has his own basically talk show host. Let me X out of that.
Yeah, because his company is called Free Speech Systems. So that's the company. When he got sued individually, and the company Free Speech Systems got sued, which I'm assuming
Infowars, I think, is also the name.
Infowars is the name of the podcast, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And then Free Speech Systems is the company. So it's probably the company that owns Infowars and his other media and social media outlets. So in the lawsuit, they named the company and him as an individual, which obviously he has money, but the company probably has even more money as far as what they would be able to recover in damages. So just from a legal standpoint, you always want to sue the individual and sue the company. And that's exactly what the plaintiff's attorneys did here.
Vivian says, sounds like he needs some mental health assistance. Don't we all? But yeah, I mean, they're very radical. So you have people that are very radical, whether it be on the right or left, right? And then I think like with anything, everything in moderation, because when you get too extreme in anything, it can be not healthy. So I think that's his case, and knowing very little bit about him, but just hearing a lot of his conspiracy theories. Granted, there are some things that I think are swept under the rug, and so I'm not going to say that everything that's in mainstream media is correct, but some of the stuff that he's also said that was conspiracy theories, I think a little bit ridiculous. Definitely, he's one of those that do not see reality. So, I mean, But like I said, has a great following. For him to make this money, companies do not spend a lot of ad revenue money to invest on podcasts if they don't think that it's going to be heard anywhere. He has a lot of viewers, a lot of listeners. So that's how he's made himself a millionaire from this. So Sandy Hook parents are suing him for defamation, and defamation is basically when someone's made a statement against you that is false and it's caused some kind of damages to you. So Tracy, you kind of want to go into detail about, because Tracy practices civil litigation, so that will be a civil. You sue people for money or stop them from doing something when you civilly do it, and it's not a criminal thing. So that's why he's not going to jail. He's being sued for monetary damages. But go ahead, Trace.
Yeah, defamation. So you have two types of defamation. You have libel and slander. Slander is spoken. So you said something that was not true that caused somebody damages. So it comes up in my law. I do employment law. So I have a lot of people call me sometimes and say, I want to sue the employer for defamation. They said that I wasn't performing my job and that's not true. And I got fired because of it. So that's my damage. I don't have a job anymore. But defamation doesn't really work like that because it can't be something that somebody can have differing opinions on. Well, I thought Tracy did a good job on her work, but her supervisor said she wasn't really meeting the standard, and the standard is 1 through 5, and there's all these metrics. It has to be something that I said this, and this I know this is not true. Tracy works at a car lot, and she stole a car and she took it home and burned it. We have evidence that she did that, or we have evidence that she didn't. I have evidence that the car is right here, and that was a lie, and that caused me to lose my job. The car is right here. It's right in the lot, has the same serial number. That can be proven, right? That's either true or not. That caused me to lose my job. I may be able to sue whoever said that for defamation, right?
Right.
Because now I'm losing money. I don't have a job, and it's through no fault of my own, other than they told that lie. So that's what's going on here. That's slander. Somebody said something. Libel is just written. So somebody told a lie, they wrote it down. It could be a text message, it could be an email, it could be, a poster, something written that somebody saw and read. It was a lie and it cost the person damages. So a lot of times the part that people don't get about defamation is damages. So somebody can say something that's a lie about you, but are you really injured? What's your injury? Is there money that you lost that you need to get back? Or is there some type of emotional distress that you face that can be quantified? So when I say emotional distress, it means, and we'll talk about with the parents, obviously, who lost their children, who were now basically being persecuted by Alex Jones's followers, who were saying, you guys are lying. This is not true. Sandy Hook didn't happen. Some of them were getting harassed. I heard one story about one of the parents wasn't even able to visit the son's gravesite because his followers were kind of like attacking them. Obviously, damages there, right? They can quantify the emotional distress that caused. I think they said one parent had to move around 10 times. Clearly, that's a damage. This person's lives is causing this to happen. And now I have to pay this money to move, pay this money probably for therapy. So anyway, we're getting kind of deep into it, but defamation is basically either libel or slander, and then you are suing because you're saying I was damaged by this person's lie. So
that's what he's being sued for. So the video that I'm sure that's circulating around, you may have not seen it already. He's in court and he's being asked by the plaintiff's attorney about some messages he was supposedly didn't have access to in discovery. So just a brief thing, discovery is when you're suing somebody, you have to exchange documents, usually ask for certain documents, and you have to give them up when you're in a lawsuit, right? And his previous statement was that he didn't have any of these documents, he didn't have any of this evidence, and then it comes out at trial that he lied, he perjured himself. So perjuring yourself means you lied under oath, and the plaintiff's attorney basically was like, aha! So I'm gonna play the clip so you can see it, and then I want to see what you guys think about it. So let me share the screen.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm excited. I'm like, this is probably a great moment in this attorney's career. By the way, it's a beautiful moment.
All right, so here it goes. Let's see. I got it queued up. Make sure it's on the screen so you guys can see it big enough. All right, here we go.
I turned the phone phone over, take stuff off.
You might want to refresh it a little.
What you say?
You might want to refresh it because it's like on my end it's like skipping, freezing. Maybe.
Oh, okay, so I'm gonna go back a couple of seconds. All right, let's try it again.
I turn the phone over and take stuff off.
Can I have you look in the very bottom below the very bottom left corner? Is that your phone number?
Yes. So you did get my text messages. And it said you didn't. Nice trick.
Yes,
Nice trick.
Indeed. You didn't give this text message to me. You don't know where this came from. Do you know where I got this?
No.
Mr. Jones.
He is stressed.
Did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protect it in any way. And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text message. Did you know that?
I see, I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone. And
Mr. Jones, you need to answer.
No, I told you I gave the phone over.
And you said your deposition. You said you pulled down the text in the search for Sandy Hook. That's what you said. Correct?
And I have several different phone numbers that I didn't have.
Probably the sound on this.
I mean, that's why you got it.
What you say?
I'm hearing it double through you and through the what it's playing. Hopefully y'all can hear it without the double crossing because you didn't come through us and through there.
Oh, I don't know. That's weird. But yeah, see, basically, it was a couple of. I'll play it back again. It was a couple of moments in there. He was like, "See, you tricked me."
Before he was going, when I tell y'all, okay, so that is a great moment for the attorney asking the questions. But for his attorney, for Alex Jones' attorney, he is sweating. You saw he was sitting, he kind of had his finger to his mouth. When I tell you that is one of the biggest mistakes for a civil litigation attorney, for you to turn over documents in discovery that either you didn't intend to, I don't know if they were trying to hide them, because in discovery, when you're asked questions, you have a legal obligation to turn over what you do have. Right. So if they had asked for that, and they have it and it's relevant and the judge didn't say you don't have to produce, they would have had to produce it anyway.
Right.
But if it wasn't asked for and it was really just a mistake, that is a major mistake.
So that's what I think. So I think it was, he's like, here's your Perry Mason moment, which I thought was funny because I was like, I like Perry Mason, shoot. And it is entertaining, right? But I think that the fact that he said he told the attorney that they had turned this information over to them and the attorney did not mark it as attorney-client privilege. And for those of you who don't know, like any correspondences between you and your attorney, whether it be like email, text, whatever, it can be marked and not given up during discovery because this is something that you're corresponding with your attorney about. But the fact that the attorney, this is my perspective, he's sitting there way too calm. And everybody's assuming that, this is a red flag for legal malpractice. But the other attorney brought it to his attention. He says that he didn't mark it as attorney-client privilege. So I think he would have had to give up the information anyway. So I don't think that was more like, aha, you're going to get sued. I think it was like, he's like, this is what I had to work. These are the cards I was dealt. I got to represent this client. But I mean, I would have had to give it up anyway. That's what I got from it because he didn't look like that bothered by it. And it wasn't like he didn't know. Like the plaintiff's attorney said, we told your attorney and he didn't do nothing about it. Versus like, we told him and then now he's marked it as attorney-client privilege. It wasn't one of those situations.
I mean, he has to look calm, even if it wasn't a mistake.
He's bluffing like he's not.
He has to. Like, you better come up with. If I was him, you better come up with a story. I mean, people make mistakes, and you do need to be honest with your clients when you make those mistakes, right? And that's the best way to go. However, the law has gray, and if you make that type of technical mistake, if you can spin it to the gray, you better spin it. You better say, I'll be sitting there too. Like, because I mean, that's if it was. Now, what I think happened is some of those text messages were probably relevant, but from what I understand, it was a very, very large scope and period of time. Instead of what he probably should have done, he should have went through those text messages and pulled out the ones that were relevant. But all of his text messages, so they got everything, and that's
his whole computer, his whole phone file.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why the attack on the Capitol, they were trying to get access to those too, because he may have had some involvement. So he basically opened up a can of worms because he didn't do his due diligence in actually doing document review and going through those text messages and saying, okay, this is actually responsive to this case. This is not. This is responsive. This is not. And that's why I think the plaintiff's attorney was like, your attorney gave me your whole phone, basically. Like, there's no way that his whole phone was relevant. There's just no way. So I think he just kind of messed up in that respect. But Sharon,
yeah,
said,
I agree. I mean, he may have given him more, but I also think he also might have given up stuff that he's supposed to give up anyway. So,
right.
Hey, Sharon Lee, his attorney may be tired of him.
Right.
Maybe. So I brought up on the screen attorney-client privilege because a lot of times, a lot of the stuff that people use in their like the regular vernacular, like that's hearsay, that's attorney-client, like people don't really know what it really is, and so I brought it up on the screen because attorney-client privilege refers to a legal privilege that works to keep confidential communications between an attorney and their client private. Communications made to and by a lawyer in the presence of a third party may not be entitled to this privilege on the grounds that they are not confidential. So a lot of times when you're talking to an attorney and then you got somebody else in the room, the attorney might ask for that other person to leave the room so that they can say like, okay, we claiming this as attorney-client privilege because somebody else is in the room and they're not actually the client of the attorney. The privilege can be, affirmatively raised in the face of a legal demand for communication, such as a discovery request or a demand that the lawyer testify under oath. A client, but not a lawyer, who wishes not to raise attorney-client privilege as a defense is free to do so, thereby waiving the privilege. The privilege only exists where there's an attorney-client relationship. And if you watch a lot of our videos, we always say in our videos sometimes like, this is for informational purposes only. This is not established an attorney-client relationship. Because when it does, when those things raise up, there's certain obligations under the laws of professional responsibility that attorneys have that now we're obligated to do certain things with you. So we kind of say upfront, like, we're giving this for you for informational purpose only. This does not establish an attorney-client relationship because it protects us from saying, like, later in the future, like, they told me to do this, and we're not your attorney. So in this situation, his attorney had an obligation to comply with discovery, but I guess the issue is, did he not, as Tracy said, like, do a correct document review and screen things efficiently enough? I don't know enough about it because the way that the plaintiff's attorney presented it, he was like, you need to get another attorney. Did you see what your attorney is doing? He kind of presented it that way. So that's why everybody's like, oh, what's up with your attorney? So who knows? But let's see what the comments are saying.
Yeah, Sharon said this point can he fire his attorney. He definitely can. You can fire your attorney at any point. Now, will he want to? Because, they're in the middle of, now the trial's over. There's a verdict, but he has a trial in Connecticut, two other trials coming up, one in Connecticut and one in Texas, as well as, one in Texas, just like this one was. You can fire your attorney at any point, but sometimes, you got to weigh the good with the bad. This is a person that's very familiar with the file. It's a complicated case. There's a lot of documents. Somebody starting from scratch, that might not be the best look. The attorney, if he did make a mistake, that might not mean that, he's not able to continue representing him well. And it might be good to keep him on because now he's going to be super diligent because he doesn't want anything else like that to happen. Vivian said his lawyer will be sued by him now so he can pay some of his fines.
Okay, so let's get to the verdict. Let's get to the verdict. So we talked about what they're being sued for, and then they had a verdict on Friday where this happened in Texas, and he had a punitive damage verdict for $45.2 million, right? And punitive damages, when you're suing people, you get compensatory, meaning it's compensating you for actual damages that you can prove, like receipts and stuff. And then punitive damages means like this is seeking to punish you to stop you and other people from doing it again. Punishment, punitive, right? So he had, I don't know what the compensatory damages were, but the punitive damages were $45.2 million, right? And in Texas, this is significant because I think the same thing happened in Virginia with the Johnny Depp trial. If you guys haven't watched the live for that, go over there to live for that, because it's the same situation where we're talking about defamation. But Texas has a cap on punitive damages. Basically, Texas is like, oh, y'all, all the runaway juries that just think they're going to do stuff, we can't let y'all just run amok. So there's a cap on it. So although they said the verdict was $45.2 million, I think the cap was in Texas is $750,000.
I don't know what it is under a defamation case on the top of my head. We have caps in our employment cases, but I don't know what the cap is.
I'm about to look it up real quick. I think I just want to confirm it. Punitive damages.
Yeah, while she looks that up,
$750,000 is the cap. Okay. So although they got that verdict, they're not going to be able to recover more than $750,000. And the whole point of it is, like I said, is trying to say like, okay, we need to put a control on juries that just want. But the jury was obviously sending a message, right? And to discourage other conspiracy theorists, like y'all just gonna come out here and talk about stuff. Yes, free speech. And I think somebody quoted it, says like, yes, there is such thing as free speech, but you're gonna pay for your lies, right? Yep. So he about to pay up for his lies. He has a lot of money. He tried to claim bankruptcy because he has a lot of different parent companies and things of that nature, tried to hide his money throughout various companies. Try to get out of paying for it, but I don't think that that's going to work to the extent that he's going to get out of this judgment against him. It's not like he's never going to make money again. So, like I said, he still has these followers. So
right, and he probably is even more popular now. One of the Arizona state senator, her name is Wendy Rogers. She said it's wrong what they did to Alex Jones. He should be able to criticize the official story anytime he wants. I hope he appeals the verdicts because the kangaroo courts already made him guilty before the trial started. Americans should help cover his bills. Sick of censorship.
Who is this?
This is your Arizona State Senator, Wendy Rogers.
Go midterm elections in November, guys. Make sure she's a state one, but still, election, find out. Like, this is what I'm talking about. These people are representing you, but they're saying stuff like that. She want to use your taxpayer dollars to pay off his verdict.
Because she feels that strongly about free speech. So, that's what me and Larita were talking about earlier, where's the line? I mean, I guess people were dragging her because they were like, she has no sympathy for these victims who lost their children. Children were murdered and had to not only deal with the death of the child, but also deal with all the repercussions that came from him just saying whatever he wanted to say. And that exceeds what we should allow as far as free speech is concerned.
And he had to admit under oath that at some point during the trial, he said he had to admit that Sandy Hook massacre was 100% real. So that's the thing about, like, truth is always a defense to, like, you can't say that you had to say under oath that this Sandy Hook massacre was real. This was not a hoax. These people's children really did die. Like, he had to say that. So now that you've admitted that it wasn't some kind of government thing to pretend like these kids died, now you got to pay for all the pain and suffering you put through these people through. So what do you get in the comment section? What do you guys think? I don't know if we got anybody that Alex Jones supporters on our viewers, but on our viewers. But what do you guys think about all of this? Like, did you kind of already know that what's going on? Was this the first time you saw the little clip? What did you think about it? Because we got a couple more minutes before we want to wrap up the live, but we do want to engage with our viewers because, you guys show up. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it makes it fun to have our viewers come in and interact with us. We try to show up once a month. So if you're new to the channel, I think I'm freezing.
Yeah.
If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to our channel and make sure you hit the thumbs up. Everybody that's on this live right now, hit the thumbs up so that it pushes out.
Hit the thumbs up. Christian is learning this today. Christian is 7, so he is learning. And everybody's learning, the adults and the kids, learning what defamation is and it is. And thanks for joining in, Yvonne. Miss Mustafa, thanks for joining. Texas law limits punitive damages. Yeah, we did talk about that. Larita pointed out that the punitive damage cap is $750,000. So, Yep, it is limited. You're absolutely right. Thanks for joining in. Make sure you hit that like button.
I think this is gonna be interesting to follow because also the House committee basically is interested in his involvement with the January 6th thing. So that might be his next thing he has to answer to. So I don't think this is gonna be the last we hear about Alex Jones. It's some more things in the works. Vivian Robinson O'Neill says he will have a book deal to make more money. I mean, as long as you have people that's gonna support you, we appreciate our supporters, but he just like we have supporters, he does too. And yes, everybody's entitled to an opinion, as long as it's not a false opinion, like in regards to like this can be proven or disproven. You have a right to your opinion. So this is gonna be interesting to see how this all plays out, to see how his attorney, if the attorney is gonna say anything about this, because just like with the Johnny Depp trial, the attorney that represented Johnny Depp, that was a win for her, right? So she became partner in her firm after it proved that she was a legit attorney, right? And the other side of the coin is somebody might be like, no, we don't want you representing. We saw what you did in the Alex Jones case. Even if he didn't do anything wrong, the appearance of him doing something wrong brought up by the plaintiff was enough to perhaps tarnish his reputation. So it'll be interesting to see if anything comes about that. But yeah, I think it's interesting to see kind of what people with a platform, you can either use it for good or bad. And we try to use our platform here we have a lot of playlists on here. It's something for just about everybody. We try to use our playlist for good and to try to bring awareness. This, like I said, this live was to focus on the legal aspects of it, like what's going on. And a lot of people don't know kind of the ins and out of what happens in the defamation trial. So hopefully it was enlightening to some of you guys. But we'll see. We might come back on if something else pops up. It's scary that he went this far with his thoughts. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Sometimes things that are very, very controversial are very popular. Like people just say things to edgy. Like, okay, let's see what kind of response we can get out of people. And he got.
It's one thing to think about. Okay, the conspiracy is, why did Sandy Hook happen, right? Who was behind it? And say, okay, I think the government may have been behind what happened, but these people actually really did lose their children. Like, I think part of the outrage is that he was saying this was a hoax. This didn't really happen. Right. While people are grieving the loss of a 6-year-old, you know? Right. So
the mom was like, my son was real. Right. I'm a mom. Like, he was alive. This is not a hoax. Like, he was alive and now he's dead because of the Sandy Hook massacre. Like, she wanted to look him in the face and tell him that, because to say that it didn't happen.
Right.
I think like you said, everything is a different reason for happening, but to say like it just straight didn't happen, I don't think that was fair for him to say that part. So it was good. I guess the parents got their chance, their day in court to say it. So hopefully,
and I think that's why the punitives were so high too, because they were like, he needs to be punished for saying this did not happen, and these people are clearly grieving the loss of children. So if he would have said, I don't think the punitives would have been that high if he would have just said, I think Sandy Hook happened because of XYZ. And, you know, it's unfortunate that the government is terrible. So kids have to die. You know what I mean? I think it would have been a different response, but
yes.
We'll see, y'all.
Mustafa commented about the bankruptcy. We talked about that earlier. Roxanne, she said she had to watch the last half. Okay, rewatch it. If you're part of the replay gang, make sure you hit the comment section up and let me know what you think about it. We try to touch on a lot of little things in a short period of time, but hopefully it was educational and somewhat entertaining, because he said, you tricked me. You tricked me. And he's like, there's your Perry Mason moment. Dang you. But I mean, it was interesting to see. So we'll see how it plays out. We appreciate all the people that came to our live today and engaged in the comment section. And we'll hope to see you guys in another video. We're going to try to continue to post a video every week on different topics. So keep up in put your alerts on if you don't already have your alerts on, so that you can see. Let us see what happens with the Orange Man's lawyer trying not to show. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
That's a whole nother live.
That's a whole nother live. But yes, we'll see how things play out in the future. Thank guys for tuning in today. Have a good rest of your Monday and back to school for some of you kids. Good luck with the back to school and the parents who are supporting the children going back to school too. So you're on duty again. So we'll see you guys in the next video.
All right. See y'all.